Hi, my name is Audrey Wallace, and I wanted to tell you a story about my house. God gifted both my husband and I pretty strongly with the gift of hospitality. After 13 years of marriage and hosting literally hundreds of people in our home between cookouts and Bible studies and probably Akron's funnest New Year's Eve party, we never could have believed the kind of hosting we would get to do in 2019. The way we got our house is pretty cool, actually. I had been praying for years about our next home because I knew we had some pretty specific and unique things we wanted in that house because we really wanted to use it to serve others. So when the perfect house popped up on Zillow, I was ready to press buy now, and my husband made us pause and pray, which is obviously the right thing to do, but I was afraid we were going to miss the opportunity. So as we were praying through it, we decided to put in an offer. Our max budget was 7% lower than the asking price, so I just wanted the owners to know who we were and why we wanted to use this house and what we wanted to use it for. So I wrote a cover letter to my husband's financial spreadsheet of the finance offer, and it was just introducing our family and the top reasons we wanted to have the home. So when we got the call that we had been chosen to buy the house, we just wept. We were so grateful, and we got to have a call with the sellers later, and we found out they had gotten several offers for full asking price, but that they had been praying too. And the things that were on our list of reasons that we really wanted that home were the same things that they had been praying for the people to entrust this house to. They were believers, and they had wanted the house to be used for the kingdom. So we knew the second we got our house that it was not for us, but it was to give to others. And we spent a couple years trying to get people to live with us and do all kinds of things with it, and never had anything hit. And then in 2019, in July, a friend called and said her church was helping settle a family who were seeking asylum from Guatemala from gang violence, and asked if we would house a mother and a son. And of course we were like, yes. And the rest of the family was at another house, but they didn't have room for two more, and they were being reunited for the first time in months. So my husband, being the way he is, said, I bet they'd all like to be together. What if we invite all six to come and live at our house? Now that's a little bigger than the promise we had made to use our spare bedroom to serve the kingdom, but I tell you what, inviting six strangers we'd never met to live in our home that didn't speak a language that we spoke was pretty powerful. And I remember a woman named Hannah standing at Akron Women on Purpose years ago talking about how her family lived in a neighborhood that she didn't always feel safe in, with guests that she didn't know, and they were bringing them through the house. Her family had started South Street Ministries, and how that as an adult she understood differently, and how that changed her as an adult. So as my kids told us that they were a little nervous and afraid and didn't want that family to be there anymore, we knew that having them be uncomfortable was okay. So I asked my son today, did you like having the Guatemalan family with us? They lived with us for 2 months. And my son said, oh yeah, I loved it. And I said, do you remember when you didn't want them to be there? And he said, well yeah, that's because they weren't my friends yet. And that just really hit me, because it's not always about having a cookout with friends, or even people that have our same beliefs coming over for Bible study, or hosting the best New Year's Eve party in all of Akron. Hospitality is really just a positioning of your heart, and it's a gift that you can offer to people who can't offer you anything in return. And we have gotten so much more in the love and joy with this family that we got the opportunity to host than we could have ever imagined when we invited them to come.
Hi, my name is Nelda, and I'm excited to share about a time that God personally interacted with me recently. It was a time in my life where I felt like a pile of dead, dry bones, and I went to a place I love to go out in the Metro Parks. I went for a walk, and I went and sat in front of this lake, and I sat there, and I knew God was going to speak to me here and feel like my bones were coming alive again. And I saw this duck on the lake, and this duck just sat there, and I was waiting for it to something to happen, for it to fly away, or for babies, or for something to come, and this duck just sat there. It almost looked dead, and I was like, oh, are you kidding me? This duck can have, it looks like it should have new life, looks like something should be going on, but it was just dead as can be, just sitting there. Nothing was happening around this lake. So I kept walking, and I saw this big wall of thicket. It was just this thorns and bushes all kind of put together, and on top of it was this cardinal, and here's this cardinal, I thought, on top of this thicket. I'm like, all right, Lord, when this cardinal flies away, that's going to be the sign of new life. And instead, this cardinal kept going deeper and deeper into like the mess of this thicket. And I was like, what are you doing? You can fly away. But it just was going deeper and deeper into the thicket, and it felt like just like this mess of this bird just kept going down. I just wanted it to fly away, and it didn't. I kept looking for signs of new life, felt nothing, and finally I was almost back by the parking lot, and it was kind of that time of year where there's just like trash all around, like the winter trash of just like sitting there and old. It's been sitting there for a while, and I was so discouraged. I was shaking my fists at the Lord because I was begging for Him to like breathe some new life into me. And I looked at the trash and felt like, and under that trash, I saw these little teeny white flowers coming up. And I felt like that was the Lord with me. Like I was looking for it to be the duck to fly away. I was looking for it to be the bird who could fly out of the thicket. And I saw the trash, and under the trash was just this delicate little white flower. And that was my sign of new life. And it doesn't always come the way I think it will. Sometimes it's under a pile of trash. But that day, God breathed new life into me by looking at these tiny little flowers under the pile of trash. And God will do that for all of us. I know that. That's how He personally interacts with me.
Hi, my name is Lindy, and I'm just going to come right out and say that I struggle with stress, worry, and major control issues. I've been reading in the book of Job, in chapter 40, when God speaks to him, and He says, you know what? If you think you can do all this, save yourself, I'm not going to help you. And I can totally relate to that because in my prayer time with God, I will say, just take this from me. I don't want to worry about this anymore. And then maybe 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, I'm worrying about it. So, and I'm telling God that I don't trust Him, or that I'm in control and He's not in control, which is scary. So some of the stuff that I do to get through this struggle is I need to be in the Bible daily. I need to be reading His Word to learn from Him. The second thing, I need to be praying with Him. I need to let Him speak to me. And when I get a little nervous and scared, I think about this song because I need to keep my eyes on Jesus. So I'm just going to sing a little bit for you. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in His wonderful face, and the things on earth will go strangely dim in the light of His glory and grace.
My name is Sonya Peele, and I'm glad to be here. Throughout the years of my marriage, I have had to move with my husband because of his advancement in his career, even though we both have careers. And sometimes feeling like I'm the one who's always sacrificing. On our very first move, it required that we'd have to move from our family and our friends and everything that we were used to go to a land that I didn't even know was on the map. And I was laid off at the time, and I was seeking new opportunities. So I sought the Lord on what to do, and He said, no matter what, go with your husband. So we decided to go. So on the first day that the movers came to pack the house, I got a job offer. It was a great job offer. It was benefits, the whole shebang, more money than I had ever made, and even more money than what my husband would be making had we made this move. And best of all, I'd get to stay with my family, my friends, and my home. But God had said, no matter what happens, go with your husband. So I did. And every time God has required a move, He has not only increased my husband, but He has increased my children, and He has increased me. And He has truly done exceedingly abundantly above all I could have asked and all I could have imagined. I've been to places I never could have dreamed of. I've done things that I didn't even know I could do. And I've had divine appointments that I would have missed had I not obeyed the Lord. So when I tell you to trust the Lord because He loves you and He only wants the best for you, trust Him. He will complete what He began in you if you allow Him.
God is personal.
God is personal.
God is personal.
God's personal, and God interacts with me always.